Good evening, thanks very much for your company. It's the 6th of January 2023 here in South Wales, based in Cardiff, and I'm going to start by giving a little bit of a mission statement. I'm going to overhaul this presentation and channel a little bit this year. I feel like I've had enough of a warm-up now. It's time to do something fun with it, and as such I'm going to attempt to put a couple of beers that I've never tried before every week on you. If I'm having a beer on a Friday and a Saturday, I'll try and make sure it's something I've never tried before, and by the end of the year they'll give me kind of like quite a good look at what's out there over a longer period of time, and maybe I can do kind of like a best and worst beers of the year going into December next year. Anyway, new year, new me, all that. And with that, happy new year. I'm going to start off with a beer which I was lucky enough to get for Christmas in one of those craft ale, little boxes, presentation boxes. It came with really nice looking stemmed glass and 3 beers, of which I'd heard of one. I haven't heard of either of the others. This one is by, I want to get this right, Harviestoun Brewery. Yeah, Harviestoun Brewery. It's bitter and twisted golden ale, coming in at 4.2%, and it's a brewery that's in Scotland. Other than that, I don't know anything about it. I did have a glance at the label on the back, which gave me some flavour notes, which I've promptly forgotten. So it's almost like going into this blind. I took it out the fridge about half an hour ago. It'd been very chilly, but this one is brave because it's saying that it should be served around about 8 degrees. So it's not saying serve ice cold, which is always, for anyone who's wondering, when you see serve ice cold on a beer label, that should get you thinking why, because serving a beer cold masks flavour, particularly off flavour. So if they're looking to hide something unpleasant, they'll tell you to serve it cold. So I'm going to give this a nice pour, see what we get. Golden ale, it's pouring out as you'd expect a golden ale to. I'm just going to stand her up and see if there's any kind of head develops on it. Yeah, there is, like a finger ahead, which is decent. So why did I start this channel? In the first instance, when the pandemic hit, I wanted to carry on having a drink, and it occurred to me, all these years, and I mean many years, I'd been drinking without really paying attention to what I was drinking. It was almost like I was only paying attention to the end, not the means. So I decided to start looking at what I was drinking, and figured out if I'm going to carry on drinking when lockdown was going on, I wanted to learn something about beers, because I'd seen some people talking about it, knew what they were talking about. I have learned a bit. I'm not an expert, so all I can give you is an opinion. I don't give you a deeper, meaningful insight into beer, but I will be able to point out rubbish, that's for sure. The good stuff, however, I've found is much of a muchness. You often know good stuff, but you might not necessarily like it, even though it's good ingredients, etc. And that's what we're looking for, is beer with good ingredients. So this, I think, is clear. Yeah, it's crystal clear. That is, I don't know if you can see that on the camera. It actually looks darker on the camera than it is. It is proper golden ale. Lovely slow moving carbonation moving up the glass. Another thing about quality beer, when the carbonation is there, it'll be slow moving. If it's fast moving, that tends to be a sign for me that it's quite thin. I know that thinking about it, on the label it said that this is brewed with oats, so I'd expect oats will give you a bit of a well, as you can imagine, if you've not had beer with oats in it, you'd imagine they'd kind of like give it a bit more of a thicker mouth feel. That tends to be the case. Anyway, I'm gonna smell and see if I can pick out any aromas. It's a bit difficult because I've had the lurgy gut that everyone's had recently. It seems like everyone I know's been ill. I hope anyone watching this hasn't been. I can smell some lovely sweet malt coming off that. It's sort of like sweet malt and a bit of citrus. It smells very fresh. It smells like I'm drinking this at wholly the wrong time of year in the depth of winter. It's one of those beers that when you walk into a beer garden in the summer and you catch a whiff of this kind of smell, it's really welcoming. So sweet malt, touch of citrus, bit of kind of like fresh grass, I suppose, in there as well. Anyway, I kind of like find it when other people who are talking about beers say things like that, it can sound a little bit pretentious. I hope it doesn't. I'm just trying to give you an insight into the fact that it smells fresh, smells citrusy, it smells good for a golden ale. Let's get involved. Cheers, your good health. That's an excellent example of a 4.2% golden ale. It's got a lovely, like, almost honey-like sweet malt front end to it, and then there's citrus comes in, but that sweetness hangs around, and some bitter citrus overrides it towards the back end of the hops that it's been made with. I'm well impressed by that. Delicious, smooth, no kind of like tinny flavours. So my go-to cheap golden ale is Hobgoblin Gold, and that is a harsher drink than this. So if you've had a Hobgoblin Gold, you'll know that the flavours are that kind of like front end of sweet malt, and then it goes bitter, but there's something a little bit it's difficult to know how to put it, because Hobgoblin Gold is very good for the price. However, you can tell that they're making the most of, you know, the price point they're selling at. So the ingredients aren't the best ingredients, but they're making the most of them. They get full whack out of what they put in. But they're, let's be honest, cheaper ingredients than what have gone into this. And this has used some really, really nice malt and some lovely hops. I'll read the label in a minute. I'm going to have another taste of that. For a 4.2% golden ale, that's brilliant. Brilliant. And you're worried with your Christmas boxes, because often with beers and Christmas boxes, you know, I've had ones before where it's just rubbish that the supermarket or whatever, or the company can't sell, so they chuck it in a box and mark it pub box for Christmas or something, and it's just garbage. This isn't. This is real quality golden ale. So it says, bitter and twisted award-winning golden ale, Saint and Sinner in one bottle, crystal malt for sweetness, aromatic fruit from the hops and oats to give the brew some body. And it has got body, that's the word I was looking for. Not to mention a naughty, tingling lemon finish. All thanks to the devilish imagination of our master brewers. 4.2% volume. Yeah, best served at 8%. And a cracking presentation, really good label. So it's a bit bright because I've got a new light behind the camera. The phone. With a camera on it, which is what I use. So one thing that I intend doing this year is keeping a record of what I'm reviewing, so I know come the end of the year what I've had, what I liked, because often if you're drinking beer you forget things, funnily enough. This one if I'm marking it out of 10, as most of us beer anoraks do, I've got to give that an 8 out of 10. It's really, really good. For a 4.2% golden ale, I think you're going some to get anything better than that. I think the reason why I get an 8 is because probably it's not my favourite genre of beer. And if golden ale is your favourite genre of beer, you may well mark that higher than I have. It's only have a personal opinion. It's not scientific. And if you come across this, you liked it, I'd love to hear about it. Obviously, I'd really be grateful if you liked and subscribed to this Bobbins, and I will endeavour to keep regular material content appearing for you to hopefully be entertained by and informed by my opinion. I'm really grateful to anyone who listens to it, and if you don't agree, all good as well. Please let me know. Anyway, once again, Happy New Year. Let's hope 2023 is better than 2022, 21 and 20, and frankly all the way back to probably about 2008. Cheers.